welcome to episode 25 of the Tiny Disc Podcast, a show about games and life. I'm Robert Scarpanito, and I'm joined here by the beautiful Jack Cepeda.
You're a handsome man, and gentlemen, happy quarter life crisis to you both, and hello to everyone out there in the interwebs. Bong bong.
And the incredible Collin Sparling.
Hello, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving, and happy Tiny Disc Giving.
Yes.
Or something like that. Something clever like that.
Yes, indeed. No, so we're publishing this episode on Thanksgiving, so we'd like to wish you, all our American viewers, all our American listeners, a happy, super wonderful, super full of food Thanksgiving. You're now legally allowed to play Christmas music out in public, so take full advantage of that.
Yeah, and I would just like to apologize in advance to all the people that work retail out there during this time of year.
It's the worst.
I'm so glad I don't. Sorry, Robert.
I'm not working, so hey, I'm fine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So a couple things here off the top. We are going to do a spoiler cast at the end here for the anime movie by Makoto Shinkai called Your Name. It was recently released on Blu-ray, which is why we're kind of bringing it up now, but it was released back in 2016. And something else I'd kind of like to drop right here, just kind of a hint about what's going to be happening in the next month, is around Christmas time, New Year's time, we're going to be doing something called 10 Days of Tiny Disc, where we kind of go over what we like. It's basically going to be a year in review for 2017. And we'll probably drop you guys more details in the upcoming episodes, but stay tuned for that. It's going to be pretty freaking cool, I think.
Yeah, just know that we have something special planned in the works. We've been working on it for a while now, and it's going to take place over the weeks that generally are considered the holiday break in America. So you look forward to that, I guess.
Yeah.
Or as Square Enix would say, please look forward to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, please look forward to it. And when we say the release date, we're actually going to push it back again after we already have this big event for the release date.
We're not pushing shit back. It's happening whether or not it's terrible or whatever. It's coming.
But we're going to give you the gift of the Tiny Disc.
Yeah, this isn't no soon TM. This will happen before 2017.
Yeah, there have been calendar dates sent out. It's basically we're married to it. So,
yep, I got the ring on my finger already.
Yep.
So, Collin, during one of our pre-production meetings, you asked us a very good question that I think should be shared.
Before we bring this up real quick, let's just go around the table. Me first, then Robert.
Okay.
Let's just talk about our favorite fruit.
Oh, all right. Okay, sure.
let's just talk about it. You go first, Robert. Actually, I said me first, but you first.
All right, fine. Yeah, it's the mango. Absolutely. 100%.
Are you serious?
100%.
Really? Mango. Why the mango, first of all?
Why the mango? It's so delicious. And it's got just the right amount of sweetness and sometimes like tart sweetness.
Okay.
It's just a great fruit.
See, I am very appreciative of the mango. Only problem is I tend to think it's like a weird texture. It's like greasy almost.
Greasy? No. I would not describe mangoes.
I don't know.
I don't know where you get your mangoes, bro.
No, I think what the problem... I've only had like fresh mango a handful of times. And I think I cut it at like the wrong ripeness or something. I did something wrong. Yeah.
You gotta, when a ripe mango is quite delicious, I have to say. So I'm glad to hear you said that, Robert. I wasn't expecting that. We're just kind of doing this off the cuff here, but that was what I was going to say. Mangoes are my favorite fruit as well. And I just so happen to be drinking mango beer by Blue Moon, which I'm trying for the first time. I don't know if it's a seasonal or regional thing, but mango wheat. And it's quite delicious. It's excellent. So
I need to find that. I need to pick one up.
Yeah, that sounds delicious. Do you still put
an orange? What?
Yeah. I was going to ask, do you still put an orange in it?
I don't need it. Okay. It's got the mango in it. Mango's far superior. So anyways, I suffer the misfortune of being allergic to mangoes as well too. So it really sucks. Like I get a weird rash if this juice touches my skin, or I just like break out. It's really bad, and then my throat kind of gets itchy and all that. But I'm like, it's so good. I'm still gonna eat some in moderation, but like if I ate mangoes for like a straight half hour, I might have to go to the hospital. So
yikes! I'm so sorry.
Yeah. But I enjoy a good mango every now and again. So to kind of dovetail off what you were saying, Robert, we did uncover a unfortunate truth, shall we say?
Yeah, Collin.
And as soon as Collin brought this up, we just told him to shut up immediately. We're going to talk about the show. So I've been looking forward to this conversation for the greater part of 48 hours. So Collin, what's go ahead and tell us your favorite fruit, and then tell us about kiwi if it's not your favorite fruit.
Well, oh man, my favorite fruit. Oh man, I'm just gonna go with something easy because I think I would have to say strawberries because I love strawberries. I love everything that's flavored strawberry. Like usually like candy that's strawberry flavored is usually the best of its kind. Like Starburst, best kind of strawberry. Come on, guys.
Fair enough,
right?
Dude.
Like
I'm gonna bring out the hood a little bit here. I'm gonna invoke the hood and just let you know that when I first found out that Popeye's fried chicken offers strawberry Fanta, I like basically pooped my pants a little bit because it was such a cool idea. Strawberry Fanta is the best. It's so ghetto. It's so bad for you, but it's so delicious. So
like it's like Red Fago.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I take off my hood now?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I see.
Visual to go.
So
there was
I was
hood up, now the hood's down.
I was
Okay,
like, I saw it.
get
I was like, Robert never wears a hood. What is happening?
Threw me off a little bit, but it's okay. So go ahead, Collin.
So I was basically looking for, I guess, not so much judgment, but I asked the question because somehow kiwis got brought up, and I asked the question: is it weird that I eat the skin of a kiwi?
No. I would like to correct the record. Collin asked, I eat, well, he went on to say that I eat the flesh of the kiwi. Is that weird?
And then I was like, wait, what?
And then there was like a couple seconds of probably me and Jack being like, it's weird you're asking that question. And then Collin's like, oh, wait, no, I meant the skin.
Yeah, and we're like, whoa.
Yeah, at that moment I was like, what?
Who does this? Yeah, I thought he was totally messing with us, man. Like,
So
are you
wait.
serious? Okay, then we stopped there, and now I've been wondering, like, what?
So wait, why? I don't understand why it's weird that I eat the skin of a kiwi. I don't get, like, I don't understand how that's weird because.
How did you start doing that? You just picked it up and grabbed it and just went like an apple or some shit?
I don't know. Listen, my mom is like right upstairs. You can ask her because she ever since I first ate a kiwi, she just left the skin on it and she chop it up and leave the skin on it.
And you just wait in slices, in like quarters,
in slices, yeah, in slices with the skin on.
Holy shit!
Do you?
Wait, I don't
Can
understand. It doesn't taste bad.
Can I
don't
ask
understand.
a slew of questions?
I guess I
I'm
don't understand
scared.
what the outrage is.
Do you eat the skin of an orange?
That's
No.
what I was thinking. Like, oh, clearly not.
That's not the same.
Banana.
No, that's not the same.
There is a movement online of people biting bananas, like with the skin on it, like they bite it like an apple.
Okay,
and
yeah.
but you
it's
eat the
pretty great.
you eat the skin
That's
of
a
an
thing.
you eat the skin of an apple. You eat the skin of a pear.
Sure. Okay.
But
also,
here's the thing. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, have you ever heard a human being bite through the skin of a banana? It is the most terrifying crunch sound effect I've ever heard.
I can only imagine. Oh no, I have a banana right here. So I'm saying I eat the skin of fruit that is delicious, but when the skin is not delicious and is unpleasant, I don't eat it. That's like my basic rule, right? So it's kind of a gross skin, dude.
So have you guys ever actually taken a bite out of like
You're
the
not
skin of a kiwi?
supposed to eat the skin of kiwi.
Well, why? What's the stigma against it? I don't understand.
It's gross, dude. It's like a furry ball sack. Like you don't eat that. Like I'm telling you, I'm sorry. Okay, it's not a natural thing. I'm not telling you not to do it anymore if you want to do it, but it's just so weird.
By that logic, you could argue a peach is like that.
Yeah, kind of.
No, peaches are
It is.
fine
It's
to
fuzzy. It's fuzzy.
Pretty fuzzy.
eat by that logic.
I don't eat the skin of a peach.
I do, and a lot of people
You don't eat peach skin?
No, I
eat
don't.
peach skin. Oh, you're supposed to eat that.
Yeah, and actually, I usually go for like nectarines because they're like the anti-fuzz version of a peach.
But so let me tell you this, Collin. So you really think? I mean, obviously you're used to it and you do it and you'll continue to do it. But you really think
Right.
it's like a normal thing? Like your friends haven't come to you and be like, "What are you doing, Collin?"
Because I've had some people that say, "Oh, I mean, it's fine. I don't really go out of my way to do that, but it like I understand or whatever. It's no big deal." And I've had other people that's like, "That's like some people have looked at me now and be like, that's fucking disgusting."
Wait, so
It is
when
like-
if you ever host a dinner party and you're like giving out hors d'oeuvres and you're like, I'll slice up some kiwi for hors d'oeuvres, would you leave the skin on for other human beings to consume and put in their mouth
I bet
holes?
he would. You fucking
Well,
monster.
that's just how I've been raised. That was left the skin was left on, but now that I know that it's not a normal thing for people to eat kiwi with the skin on, I guess I will.
It
Go
would
out of my
seem
way.
to me like kind of tough to chew.
It's not though. You got like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think you guys have ever eaten it because it's really not as bad as you think.
I can't do it. Like they sell these snack packs with kiwi, and they come with this weird utensil. They're kind of handy in this case. So it's just like a half spoon, half knife, like one side's a knife to cut the kiwi in half. And then you have 2 kiwi halves, and then you take the spoon half and you like scoop out the good kiwi stuff. And I think the middle part of a kiwi is very delicious.
It is
probably my favorite part of the kiwi. It's probably most flavorful. Yeah. So,
but I don't know. It's just the texture's not as bad as it seems. And if you let it like ripen a little bit, it gets a little soft, and so it's not as hard to eat. And it's like the skin isn't even. It almost reminds me of the skin of an apple. It's just a little bit more tart.
Wouldn't it? My argument is, wouldn't it be better if you didn't eat it? Wouldn't it mean like, oh, this is just all good instead of mostly good?
I mean,
some really
that's
terrible
where
parts.
I mean, to be fair, that's where all the fiber is in the fruit. Like that's where a lot of the nutrients is in a fruit. Is usually the skin. Believe it or not.
I'm sitting next to or not sitting, but I'm talking next to 2 strange people because. Robert, you don't eat the skin of a peach? What's up with that?
No, I mean, for one, I don't eat that many peaches in the first place. So
same.
There is that. But I've never thought like, oh, I'll eat the skin too. It's fuzzy. That sounds delicious on my tongue.
But you skin the peach and then eat it?
Yeah.
Really? Fascinating. This is eye-opening segment, guys. All right. Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think of any like weird things I eat.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Jack, do you eat any fruits weird?
Oh, okay, I'll tell you something weird that I do. Maybe it's not weird, but my argument is that the most delicious part of a Pop-Tart is the crust. Fight me. Untoasted, too.
I can see your argument.
That's my favorite part of the whole Pop-Tart is the crusty corners.
But
it depends on what kind.
Yeah.
It's just a plain crust, dude. If they sold me just like a box full of just Pop-Tart crust, I would love it.
Listen. Like, but are we talking like strawberry Pop-Tarts with the regular vanilla-y crust, or are we talking like fudge Pop-Tarts with like the chocolatey crust?
Oh, I want just the white crust. The white crust.
See, it's one of those things where like I can eat it, but I definitely don't want to eat like a whole thing of that. I need a good balance between the cream and the crust or whatever.
No, for me with a Pop-Tart, I'd never get enough crust, and that's the part I look forward to. And like the middle part is just like a necessary evil. So when I'm enjoying Pop-Tarts.
What? That's kind of like reverse,
I guess I might as well eat this part because I'm just trying to get to more crust.
What the
I don't know. And it's also like I'm also all for like toasted Pop-Tarts. I don't really like to eat untoasted Pop-Tarts unless I have to.
I'm 95% untoasted on the Pop-Tart.
Yeah, untoasted aren't so bad. But my question, Jack, is like, do you enjoy the taste of cardboard? Like when you get a package from Amazon, is like the best part the packaging, not really whatever's inside?
I don't know what it is, man. I like pastry. I just like breads.
Wait. Are you one of those people that gets like the unfrosted strawberry Pop-Tarts?
Oh, I could totally do that. And the unfrosted cinnamon too. I could totally rock those.
Well, the unfrosted cinnamon is like they're not really well, unless you mean brown sugar and cinnamon.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, okay. Because there's also cinnamon roll, which is like cinnamon roll doesn't really even have a frost on it.
These are guys deep cuts for the Pop-Tarts lore.
I'm having some like flashbacks too, like that I don't really want to have. Did you guys ever have the misfortune of being force-fed the generic Pop-Tarts as a youngster? Because my family was too poor to afford the Pop-Tarts.
Nope.
We had generic Pop-Tarts and it was so sad. They were always blueberry flavored and disgusting and cherry flavored. Like, get that shit out of here. All right, but let's move ahead from the food talk. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. That's our food talk.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Kiwi at the Thanksgiving table.
Please don't replace your turkey with Pop-Tarts. The crust of Pop-Tarts specifically. That's just bad. So
the flesh of a kiwi.
Hi, can I have a turkey wrapped with the flesh of a kiwi, please?
It's a delicacy in some countries.
I don't think that's true. So let's talk about video games. So I'll kick things off here. We're getting to the end of 2017, and I figured, you know what? We're in a lull, kind of, and might as well start digging through that long backlog that 2017 has given me. So I've finally popped the game Nioh into my PS4, and I've gotten some time to play that, and wow, that game is really good. It's like way better than I thought it would be. I'm going to be honest. It's like shot up in my rankings of consideration for like maybe not necessarily game of the year, but like, wow, it's a great great game of this year.
Yeah, Samurai Souls.
Oh,
Who
absolutely.
developed that?
Yeah, that's Team Ninja, the same guys behind like Ninja Gaiden, same guys behind Dead or Alive. So,
whoa,
pretty good developer. So that game came out like way back in February, if I remember right. And yeah, like I remember it coming out on February 7th, and I was like, man, that looks cool and all, but like the Switch is gonna drop in a month, so like maybe.
Yeah, it was a weird time for it to come out because, well, not only that, Nioh came out then, and then Horizon as well, right? The same month?
Yeah, Horizon came out like the very last day or the second to last day of February. So it was a tight like moment. And I also knew like there were a lot of things on the horizon for me at that point. So I kind of held off on Nioh. I picked it up halfway through the year on a good sale, and only just now started playing it, actually. So yeah, for those of you who don't know what it is, people have likened it to like samurai Dark Souls, Japanese, like feudal Japanese style Dark Souls, and it's kind of that, but also Ninja Gaiden-y. It's weirdly like character action driven in a way where, you know, with Dark Souls it's like you have your light and heavy attacks, but you don't really learn like combos. There are no like, you know, like juggling or anything like that. Not that Nioh necessarily has juggling, but there are a lot of moves in there where it feels a lot like playing Bayonetta or something, where it's like if you put in certain inputs, you do very drastically different moves rather than just your light attack and your heavy attack.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember seeing something like there's different stances, and each stance is a different moveset depending on what weapons you have.
Absolutely.
Things like that, right?
Yeah, so that's that's the coolest thing to me, right? So you have your low, your mid, and your high stance. And basically low stance, you can evade for days, and your attacks are very short. So it's very like you're able to move in and out very quickly. But obviously you do way less damage. Whereas your high stance, you're going to move a little slower. You can't really dodge as well. And your swings take way too much wind up. But the damage payoff is massive. And they do this thing where at the end of every move, there's like a short moment where if you hit the stance change button, like right at that moment, you regain some of your stamina, and like you can get abilities where if you change your stance at that moment, you start doing more and more damage. So there's a way to like kind of chain things up, and there's like a rhythm that feels a lot like a fighting game or a lot like a character action game that I really didn't expect. And it's making this experience so freaking cool.
Yeah, it's like, that's the cool thing, because I played a little bit of it, probably only about an hour, or no, I'm sorry, it was the demo. Yeah, so it was a couple hours. But yeah, that's the impression that I got from it. It basically takes Dark Souls combat and adds a lot more, or a lot of different dynamics to it. Mm-hmm. It basically gives it more depth. Like I mean, Dark Souls is Dark Souls, and you know, we had that, you know, we hold that game in high regard, but Nioh just builds on it in a way that no one ever expected, and it kind of takes it above and beyond just a Dark Souls clone in that way.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I went into this expecting like, oh, it's gonna be another Dark Souls game, and yeah, it has the same mechanics of like, you know, you look for the shrine, aka the bonfire, and then you pray at it, and then you can like pick up where you left off there, and if you die, you go back to the last bonfire you prayed at, and every time you pray, like all the enemies respawn. So it's very Dark Souls in that way, where you're kind of collecting Amrita, which is souls in this game, to level up your character, level up your stats, just become stronger. And then they have an RPG style system where like you gain more skill points and you put them in like to your skills to learn different combos and different abilities. So now instead of just like swinging my sword 4 times, I can swing my sword like 4 times and then do a roundhouse kick that does a lot of damage to the enemy's stamina, and then I can break their guard and then do even more massive damage.
How's the music in the game? How's the atmosphere? And how's the graphics?
The music is, I haven't gotten far enough to really say like the music's made a big impact on me, but it's fitting. I haven't heard any track that was kind of like, ugh, yet. The graphics, I mean, I'm playing on a PS4, so definitely it doesn't look as good as it would on PC, but it is the first game I played on a console where I've got to experience the whole like choose between better resolution and lower frame rate or higher frame rate, lower resolution. Mm-hmm. So the fact that I can actually hit 60 FPS with this PS4, not a PS4 Pro, is pretty neat. I do notice some frame dips, but you know, what do you expect, right, on a PS4, right?
So the frame dips, though, you wouldn't say they've like hindered you in combat, have they?
No, it's usually like between big areas because there aren't really like loading screens. You know, it's not like you hit A on a door and then you load to the next area. It's usually just one continuous world. So usually you notice like frame rate dips when you're switching to another big room or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm very interested in this game. So I know what's it called? The Complete Edition.
Yeah, that's on Steam right now.
And Steam, it just got released a couple weeks ago.
For $50.
And it's going to have all the DLC that's been released since earlier this year. And it's supposed to look the best and be basically objectively the best version of the game to get if you can. So it's something I'm looking forward to. It's not necessarily going on sale anytime soon yet, but I am very hyped for that. I mean, something about the aesthetic. I know that I'm famously a hater of Dark Souls games on this podcast, but something about the Eastern aesthetic and just the whole package put together is like getting my interest in this. And you tell me it comes from Team Ninja. You know, they've kind of struck out recently. They haven't really had a great game since Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden Sigma, in my opinion. So I would hope that this is more of that and less Ninja Gaiden 2, Ninja Gaiden 3.
Yeah, this definitely, again, gives me vibes of like the experience I had with Ninja Gaiden back in the day. But definitely
hating on Dead or Alive, okay.
But definitely really hard. Like, Jack, don't walk into this thinking, yeah, I get to do long combos. Like, this game is hard. I'm a Dark Souls veteran, and it's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah, I would almost argue it's harder than Dark Souls.
A little bit.
Well, what makes it hard? Is it just because the enemies like one hit like takes over 50% of your health? Or?
Some of them do it first, but the thing is, it's hard to like having all the stances. It's very cool, but that's also way more to micromanage. Like with Dark Souls, all I had to think in my head is essentially like, okay, if I hit R1, I do my light attack, and it takes like around this long to wind up, so I need to learn my enemy's pattern and then know when to like go in, right? Whereas with Nioh, it's like, okay, I know my square attack on my low stance takes this long, but then I want to switch it to the mid stance at some point to start doing more damage, so I need to figure out how long that swing takes, and then maybe if I switch it to high stance, I need to learn how long that swing takes. So there's a lot more to learn with each weapon type, and sure, there are only, I think, 5 weapon types, so that's, 15 different like modes to learn, I guess. But
different moods in each mode,
right? But you're also constantly switching between these modes. Like, it's not necessarily the most efficient to stay in one form. It's similar to a fighting game where maybe you want to hit low stance first, so you can get in and start hit stunning them with really quick moves, and then switch to a high stance at the end of your combo to deal massive damage at the end, and then switch back to low stance. You can get the hell out before they swing back at you. It's something like that.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested in checking out further. I'll just maybe watch some gameplay, some let's plays, and see like maybe some beginner tips, see if it's really for me. I just don't think I could pull the trigger at $50, but it certainly is on my Steam wish list. And when it goes on sale, you know, maybe half off or something like that, I probably would definitely jump on it. It seems like a highly lauded game. Seems like a game that's important to talk about come Game of the Year time. Are there any other? I know we're approaching the long weekend here. Are there any other games that you like feel like, oh man, I need to play this in time for, you know, the 10 days of Tiny Disc, Game of the Year time, and all that stuff?
Absolutely. There are so many games I still need to play.
What are some big ones you're planning on hitting this weekend?
This weekend? I guess it depends on what I bite the bullet on for the Steam sale, right? Like, I'm thinking about Assassin's Creed Origin, because that actually looks pretty solid. I see you shaking your head no, but...
No, I hate that game. Okay, but good.
Yeah, I don't know.
I played it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I played it. I haven't brought it up too much in this podcast. I'm not going to talk about it very much here, but the first like hour is so boring.
I've heard after that, though.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, I've heard after that. It just like everyone says it's like one of the most boring beginnings in video games as of late, and then it just suddenly picks up out of nowhere.
Yeah. I'm thinking about picking up Prey or Resident Evil 7 maybe, because remember Resident Evil 7 came out this year. I forgot that until like I saw it on Steam today and it was like released January 2017, and I was like,
ooh.
Oh.
I'll bet that's on sale too.
Yeah, it is. $30 right now on Steam.
Nice.
Yeah. And one last thing I want to say about Nioh. Main character looks so much like Geralt. Like, he is literally Geralt.
Yes, that does bother me a little bit. He's like
he is
Ninja
literally
Geralt.
like Japanese Asian Geralt. Or something.
It's striking to me.
The old white dude with long gray hair and a gray beard is the new Nathan Drake, right? Like the characters all used to look like Nathan Drake. Now they all look like Geralt. It's bad. Come on, guys.
It's great.
Let's get creative.
No, just look up the collage of all the shaved head protagonists, like
that was the thing too.
Chief, but Nico from Grand Theft Auto 4.
The Gears of War guy,
Shepard from Mass Effect.
Shepard. Oh,
why can't I remember the Gears of War dude?
Marcus
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Yeah,
he didn't have a shaved head.
He was bald.
No, he wasn't.
Under his beanie, or under his cap, he wasn't bald. Really?
In the third one, he had hair. I don't know.
I never played Gears of War.
Right. He started bald.
Collin, you've been playing something very fun this week, haven't you?
Yeah, you want to talk about games that have come out this year that have really made an impression. Like, so I finally jumped into the PUBG game, and it's been a long time coming.
Welcome to the PC world.
Wait. I thought your PC was broken. How did you play PlayerUnknown's Battleground, a PC exclusive game as of right now?
I'm getting there. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey, to say the least. I back in March purchased components for a new PC build after getting my tax return, and Robert was there actually when I pressed the buy button on that Amazon order with all my stuff. Well, what happened was I ended up getting all my components, put all the stuff together, and had a DOA motherboard. Yeah. So that was great. But it's like, it's one of those things that it's so common to a lot of people that build PCs that it's usually no big deal. You send your stuff back, you send your motherboard to your manufacturer, they fix it, they send it back, all is well.
It's a big headache, and I can understand why people just go console with shit like that happening. It sucks. But like, you skip ahead 9 months. Like, this is like your character arc here. Like, you were talking about this PC motherboard since we started this podcast, and it finally happened. So congrats, man.
Yeah. This PC basically turned into a fantastical beast that sounded like it was never going to get done until one day it was just magically done, because that motherboard that I originally sent out, the post office refused to tell me that I had improper postage on my package until after holding it for 2 months. So when I got it back, I couldn't send it back anymore. So I had to wait until I had the money to buy a new one. And
Collin, this is your Szechuan sauce, man.
Essentially.
That's why it's finally happened.
I have a question for you, Collin. Did you put blue LEDs or red LEDs in your computer?
Actually, you're probably going to hate me for this. I have a mixture of blue and red.
Ooh, that's weird.
But then that means it runs cooler and faster. So,
right, exactly.
So it's America's
I have red and blue,
PC.
actually, and I have white too, because my graphics card outputs white.
It is America's PC, dude.
It is an American
PC.
Dude,
it's so red, white, and blue. Yeah, it's
absolutely.
So. Every time I turn it on, you hear like the sound of a bald eagle, like just cawing, and it's just and like now cool. Engaging all systems.
I
like,
want a PC that does that now.
That's pretty funny.
No. But no, it's been great finally being back in the PC gaming realm, because I felt so left out when the two guys over here have nights full of Overwatch and PUBG, among other things. And but yeah, jumping into PUBG, man, being a PUBG noob sucks.
Oh, it does. It's the worst.
It's so hard.
It sucks. But man, I love just the general concept of the game. You're riding an airplane and with you and a whole bunch of other players and sometimes your friends. You land somewhere, you scramble to get weapons, and basically you have a circle that's closing in on you, and you're trying to get there and kill everybody else along the way and try to come out on top without dying. So that in and of itself, like the idea of like just jumping into an open world and the sense of adventure you kind of have from that, like it's all based around, a lot of it's luck, right, running a game like that, but it's like I love jumping in, especially with your friends, and it's like, you got to form your own strategy. You got to basically, it's you literally against the world. And PlayerUnknown created just a hell of an idea and something very original that I think is going to stick around for a really long time.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So yeah, you guys have been kind of backing me up and getting me into the game, but
yeah. Have you played any solo games yet?
Plenty of them, yeah.
Okay, so how's that experience compared to like actually playing with people, like on a team?
So I like playing solo, actually kind of fending for myself, because I have to rely on my own intuition as to like where to go and when to do what. And so it's like a different dynamic than playing on a team. And I have come out on top 10 like a couple times.
Congrats.
Like surprisingly enough.
Nice. Not easy.
I've played I think 25, 30 rounds and I've only gotten one kill. Because my strategy
turtle
is basically
strategy.
Yeah, the turtle strategy. So I basically just try to confront nearly or the least amount of people I possibly can, find a vehicle, and just ride around until the circle closes in and wait it out behind a tree somewhere.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, so that's basically been my strategy. And every time I've gotten in a firefight, the other guy somehow kills me faster, even though I've shot him 5 times. So it's pretty much the same problem I have when I play Call of Duty, but I digress.
I would argue that PUBG is currently the greatest gameplay loop there is possible.
It might be. It's definitely up there. Like, it's been a long time since a multiplayer game has really like caught me, like got me engaged like this. I don't think there's really ever been a multiplayer game that's made me just like want to sit down daily and just get my rounds in.
Seriously, and I knew you guys were gonna like it, and I had to famously coerce Robert into playing the game with me earlier this year. He didn't want to play it. Now he's got more hours than me on it, so I'd like to see that. When I talk about gameplay loop, like the last time I can remember a gameplay loop that was this kind of like quote unquote famous was the original Halo on Xbox, like that 30 seconds of fun that they would talk about, where you're like, you know, you reload, you shoot, you throw your grenade, you throw your sticky grenade, you jump into a warthog, you run over some people, etc., and then just repeat that over and over again for the whole game. And there you have it. You have a hit. And with this game, it's like, okay, you are in the waiting area, and then you're skydiving. You're choosing where you're going to go. You land. You punch people in the head. You grab a gun as fast as you can, kill somebody. Then you run and, you know, go from city to city. It's like, it's so simple, but the premise is so simple, but there's like a layer of complexity there, I think, that people, you know, are surprised by and are still learning. Like, to this day, like, you know, we've been playing between the 3 of us hundreds of hours probably combined, and we're still learning new things and seeing new things. I still haven't seen that entire island.
Same.
In the 50, 60 hours I played.
I think what makes the game so clever or so addictive, right, is that it has the perfect balance between kind of boring, quiet tension and immediate, you know, high action packed moments. Because, you know, there are a lot of times, like, even when you start the match, like you decide to land in school, right, and you're starting off like, shit, I need to find a gun right now, I need to kill everyone around me, and I need to loot everything, and, you know, it's just like, that's a very tense moment. But then if you make it out alive, then it's like, well, what's next? Where do I go next to loot? Right. And those
Where's
are usually
the circle? How far is it away?
Right. And those are usually like fairly quiet moments, you know, like occasionally, sure, you'll run into people, but for the most part, it's the idea of like, I'm getting me to safety. That's all that matters. And those times give you time to process like that action that just happened, you know, and it's just a great like roller coaster, I guess, right? Of, you know, like those moments where you're going crazy and then you got time to build up to the next one.
Yeah.
It's almost like the same integrity of a modular D&D campaign, right? So, you know what I mean? So it's like you jump in, you know, you have all these crazy stories and adventures you go on with your friends, but it's all within like a 40-minute time span, and I think that's what, you know what I mean? Because it almost has that sense of adventure and you know, a clear goal, of course, but it's like the sense of adventure is what drives me into playing the game, because you never know what's going to happen and you're just kind of jumping into the unknown. And even if the match ends quick, you just jump out, you jump into another one, and then you're back at it.
Yeah, Lord knows
something different.
There are enough people playing that your wait times in queue are not that long.
Yeah, right, and then you're waiting in queue and everyone wants to tell you they want to fuck their mother, or someone's screaming at you in a foreign language. It's great.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Collin, so wait till you even start getting into zeroing in or changing your zero distance for your bullets and adjusting for bullet drop. Like, wait till you start going into the map, you see where somebody is, and you start counting the grid lines to how far away they are to zero in your weapons and go that deep, because people are already there. Like, pro level do that.
Oh yeah, there's already there's already the 360 no scope type guys in the game for sure.
Yeah, cheating is an issue in that game too, which they need to fix and they need to address, and they are prioritizing that. But as far as what I understand in the late game stuff, which I'm nowhere near good enough to get into the higher tiered matches, but I hear that there's real bad like Chinese gold farming or whatever the equivalent is of that on the black market. It's real bad.
Yikes!
Wow. And I think kind of like in conclusion here about the game, I think there's pretty much like something for everyone in this game in a way, you know what I mean? Because like, even if you don't necessarily get the, you know, the chicken dinner or whatever, you're still having a good time while doing it. You know what I mean? You know, some people get, you know, really pissed off, and there's still a lot of rage quitting type stuff going on here. There's stuff that'll make you rage quit. And that part of that is that it's such an early access game, but it's just a good time. And that's what I like so much about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the real quick funny story is, I don't know if we mentioned it on the show, but Robert and I, the very first game we played as a duo, we won the chicken dinner. And Robert, have you won since then?
No.
That's the one and only. The very first game of PUBG you ever played. You're the last man standing. Chicken dinner, and you're just chasing after that. I know, isn't it? What are the odds, right? And when I first played, I got to second, like in a single player match. I got to second. I've never done better than that, and that was early on, like my fourth match ever, or whatever.
Wow. Yeah, I think solo, the highest I've ever gotten is maybe third or fourth, something like that.
Wow, I'm sitting at 9th right now, I think.
And it sucked too because my wife was like taping my gameplay on her camera, and she thought I was gonna win, and I died.
Rip.
I know, it sucked.
Jack, what have you been playing for the past week or so?
So I'll go super quick with this. I thought I was gonna be playing more Super Mario Odyssey, which I fully intend on getting to. That is the #1 priority game for me to play right now and beat it in time for Game of the Year talks. But I didn't get to that. Let me just tell you guys, if you're ever going to move to Texas, this is for anyone listening, doing anything with your car, like related to your car, like driver's license, registration, insurance, all that stuff, is so fucking complicated in the state of Texas. It is ridiculous. Like in Ohio, for instance, you can walk into a building. You might have to wait a little bit. Walk into a building, take your picture, take a test real quick, etc., and you'll walk out with your license and your registration right then and there. It's not like that in Texas. Have I told you guys this?
Oh, it's not.
No,
I did not
dude.
know that.
You have to go
this.
to for one, your license is a separate building, a separate company than your registration.
What?
So first you have to go get your registration first. You would think you have to get your license first. No, you have to get your registration done first. I'm not even going to go to the details. It just drives me crazy. It fucking drives me crazy. I'm so triggered about the whole process.
Man, that's a great video game. That sounds like a lot of fun.
No, but I don't even know why I'm talking about this. Oh, but let me just finish. I'm already on a roll. So also every year you have to get your car inspected. It costs about $20 a pop. You have to get your car inspected to make sure that it's not emitting too many like pollutants into the air. And if it doesn't pass, you have to get it fixed, or you have to have a mechanic fix it so it will pass inspection. So your car has to get inspected every year before you can even renew your registration.
Wow,
that's
it
annoying.
Sucks.
That's
it's annoying. And then also I was going to say, when you go to the one building to get your license, you have to wait like 2 weeks and they'll mail it to you. But the whole time you're carrying around a paper saying that, hey, I'm waiting on my license in case you ever get pulled over. It's a complete nightmare. Wow. But anyways, the reason, I know I'm bringing this up because that's why I couldn't play Mario, because I was busy futzing with that all day Tuesday. Like, and when I say all day, I mean all day long.
24 hours.
Terrible. It's terrible. So anyways, to soothe my soul, right, and to like get the feels good man happening, I got into some Animal Crossing Pocket Camp on iPhone, and it's out on Android as well. Worldwide release was November 21st of this year. If you don't know Animal Crossing, get on it. It's a social simulator, single player, multiplayer. It's a great time. It's very relaxing. It's very chill. It's developed by Nintendo EPD. You had a question?
Yeah, didn't they release it a day early, if I remember right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it went live a day early.
I thought I thought yesterday was a day early, right? It was supposed to come out today, and it came out
That's
yesterday.
right. Yeah, it was supposed to come out the 22nd.
Yeah, because I remember I was sitting in class, and one of the guys I sat next to kind of just like strolled into class and like, whipped out his fancy iPhone X because he works at an Apple store, and he's like, yo, check this out. I got, Animal Crossing with this. Look, I got the notch thing up here, and like it takes up the whole screen.
What's he do? Hold on. What's he do at Apple?
I don't recall.
Is he just one of the dudes that helps you like look at shit and get shit?
I think so. I think so. Because I actually know more than one person that works at an Apple store.
2 weeks at least, or maybe even 3 weeks worth of his paycheck for that iPhone X, even with his discount. So that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if they let you make payments on that or what, but man, it's so much for a phone.
Ooh. So anyways, Animal Crossing was incredibly fun. It had all the characters, all the love, all the charm, all the sounds, all the music you enjoy. It's just in a perfect kind of pocket form. I only played about the first hour, the intro part. I linked my Nintendo account to it, etc., and it felt great. I felt like I was back in the saddle. I'm a big Animal Crossing fan. I played probably 300-400 hours total of Animal Crossing New Leaf on 3DS, and my wife and I are enjoying it. And we're gonna have fun. We're gonna keep playing it. I'm gonna try and go the whole time without buying any Leaf tickets, because that's their online currency, right? That's their. Oh, this isn't gambling. This is Leaf tickets. This isn't real money. Don't worry about it. But they cost
over
money.
There selling you microtransactions.
It's totally the crack dealer on the corner giving you the first hit for free too, because they give you 10 free Leaf tickets to start.
Well, you actually get a ton in your rewards in your mailbox. Like I have over 100, I think, at this point.
How much have you played?
Like an hour.
Okay, well, I don't have 100, but I'll look. Maybe they accrue over time. I don't know. I haven't played that much, but I'm having a good time. And you know what, Robert? If you're gonna hate on it, just delete it, man. Just delete the game. Don't play it anymore.
Just break it.
I'm doing that thing where I'm giving this another chance. I'm giving it a shot. And so far, I am liking it a lot better than I did on the 3DS because I think this mobile platform is a lot more like it's better for it. Like it's really easy to pick it up and put it back down, and like you're just doing like, oh, I'll just catch a butterfly right now, and then boop, done, and turn it off.
So
you're done.
This game it's initially free to play, right?
It's free to start, as they say. Free to start.
Free to start. Is it one of those things? Is it like Mario Run where you can get like the full version for $10?
No, you just download this right now and you just play. It's more like Fire Emblem Heroes if you ever played that on your phone.
It's more like you're paying to like make cooldowns go away faster or instantly. Yeah. So for instance,
so it's like Clash of Clans almost. How they do
I don't
that?
know.
Yeah.
I don't play that evil, but listen, this is like the closest thing I can tell you about. So in Animal Crossing, there's trees, right, and they each grow their own individual fruit depending on what seed you plant. And for instance, I picked a cherry tree, and when you hit the tree, 3 cherries drop down, and then a nice little clock tick down timer pops up on top of the tree, and it will not grow fruit, and you cannot pick it again for like 5 hours or something like that.
Wow.
So if you want more fruit, my friend, you're gonna have to pay to get that cooldown down.
Like the thing I've noticed leaf tickets being used for so far are like when in your own pocket camp, because you're building a camp so you can have other animal friends over to hang out with them and chat with them.
You're just trying to have a party. You're just trying to have a good time,
just for whatever reason. And
because you're an animal.
Thank you.
You're a party animal.
You can build like benches or beds or whatever, and like certain animals like certain furniture. So it's like if you want to appease a certain guy, like you need to build what he likes, and it's like, hey, come over here. To build it takes like the materials and then like time, like real world time. So early game, it's like it takes a minute for this to craft. It's like, it's whatever. But I imagine like time will ramp up, and then you can just pay leaf tickets if you want to just make that time go away.
Colin, how familiar are you with Animal Crossing?
Not that familiar at all. It's always been a series that has eluded me.
So one thing that's pretty cool, in my opinion, on Animal Crossing is that it keeps track of the real world time. Okay, and depending on what time you pick up the game, it could be any time of day, but that time will be reflected in the game world, and thus you'll have different interactions with people. You'll have maybe someone's like a night owl, for instance, and they'll only come outside at night, and during the daytime they're asleep. Or maybe certain shops or certain vendors are only open at certain times of day. Maybe only certain flowers will bloom at night or daytime. Shells on the beach, etc.
That's kind of annoying.
Like that. No, it's actually, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I mean,
it's like if you only get a chance to play at night, then it kind of sucks. You're shit out of luck for some stuff.
But on the 3DS,
they've adjusted for that. Oh, go ahead.
You can just like adjust the time on your 3DS, and then it's like, hey, I'm totally playing at 8 in the morning.
Oh, well, you could do that, but I was going to even go further and say that the game actually will adjust to that. If, let's say, you're facing that issue where you can only play at night, I remember in New Leaf on 3DS, you could pass a city ordinance and say, hey, we're going to have all the shops open at these hours because this is when I normally play. So it will adjust for you. It takes that into account. And this game, I think, it knows it's on a phone. It knows it's always in your pocket at all times. You can just pick it up, whip it out, and there'll be something new and dynamic to do at that time. So I think it's really, friendly in that regard. I think it's an incredibly genius move to bring like a more full-featured Animal Crossing to mobile. I'm excited to see where it goes. I think that it's kind of a perfect marriage. We'll see how it gets received by the masses, because Nintendo has not had the greatest luck on mobile with Mario and their other properties. So we'll see if this takes off.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it becomes like Fire Emblem Heroes, because that game was actually like pretty solid for the most part. Like I felt like I didn't need to buy I didn't buy anything. There were some times where I was like, if I give them money, it would be easier right now, but fuck it. And
kind of seemed like a very bare bones, kind of pared down version of Fire Emblem, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Fire Emblem Heroes was more about like, sure, there's a Fire Emblem style gameplay, but it's more about I need to catch all my anime boys and girls. I need to raise all my anime children. Like that's what that was more about. It was all about the gachapon system.
I see.
Okay.
I see.
Yeah. But let's put a pin in that. Let's move on to the news. So we're going to be a little quick here with the news. So let's follow up first with a story from last week. So you guys remember when we were talking a lot about how EA is the worst and how they ruined Star Wars Battlefront 2 with all these crazy microtransactions, and it would take 40 years to unlock Darth Vader and yada yada?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then on the same day we published, they were like, we're going to remove all microtransactions temporarily.
What a crazy precedent they're setting here. Like literally hours before the game gets released, they're going to completely just pull the rug out from underneath their own economy system that they spent millions of dollars developing, and they were hoping would bring in millions of dollars. Again, as we said, EA is not in the video game business. They are in the microtransaction business. And to just neuter their flagship release for this holiday season on the eve of what is objectively the most anticipated Star Wars movie of all time, like, this is crazy.
Yeah, and like... Man, this exhausts me to no end, because like when I heard that news last week that, hey, we're removing microtransactions, I had to remind myself, this game isn't even fucking out yet.
Yeah.
It came out the day after all of the microtransaction debacle.
Yeah.
And a couple days later, it was revealed that those guys who own the Star Wars IP, what's their name? They're like the small company. Not many people have heard of them. Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
Disney Inc.
Oh, yeah, Disney. Those guys. Didn't they do Toy Story? No, that's Pixar.
The company made Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Those guys. Probably like one of the most powerful companies on the planet right now.
Probably.
Yeah, see, Mickey Mouse came strolling into EA Games, kicks the door open, comes in Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction style. Like, what? Motherfuckers.
No, you got to do it in Mickey's voice, dude. Like,
yeah.
Motherfuckers. You motherfuckers. Ho, ho, you motherfuckers.
Yeah. Just comes in, says motherfucker, and they're like, all right, we're sorry.
Yeah. They're all like, they're sitting there eating lunch. Yeah, it was microtransactions, stealing all the money. And then they're like, motherfucker, he's like flips around in the chair and like starts fucking busting his kneecaps. And he's like, puts a gun to his head. He's like, well, you motherfuckers better fix this. The Bacillus Wasp, does he look like a bitch? Like,
just goes Tanya Harding on everybody. But that's what happened, right? Like Daddy came home, right? And EA's in trouble now. Once they start hearing it from Disney's executive heads up, like, hey, you're fucking damaging our Star Wars brand that we bought from George Lucas. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like, fuck it, it's gone temporarily, like you said, though, right? So that is the big caveat here. And I think that sales of the game, it's hard to ignore, like, definitely are suffering. I mean, the game is still alive. It's still floating. I mean, let's not, like, jump the gun here. But if you notice, EA's stock is at an all-time high. That is true. However, if you look at the data, they are definitely on a 3-month slump where they looked at having more a 3-month climb, right, with all their releases coming out that they've been touting since E3 and before that. And so they don't expect, like, oh, shit, all our best games are coming out, and now the stock's going down. It's actually a problem.
Yeah, to throw a hard number on it, in the UK right now, Battlefront 2 sales are actually down by 60% compared to the first Battlefront game that was released.
Shit.
Thank you. Thank you, consumers, for being smart with your money.
I mean, yeah, and here's the problem, or not the problem, but here's like what's a shame. Like, I'm a pretty hardcore Star Wars fan, but I'm very casual EA fan, very casual Battlefront and Battlefield fan. And I'm actually, like, don't hate me for this, but I'm actually enjoying the time I'm spending in the game. Yes, it's a shallow experience, but sometimes I appreciate a shallow experience. Sometimes I just want to get into a game as quick as possible, have it look really pretty, hear the Star Wars sounds, shoot some people in the head, get into, cut open a tauntaun and hide inside the corpse. And
oh, you can do
this
that?
game. No, I don't know, but I mean, that sounds like fun, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I just want to do some stupid shit, right? And then lightweight, just get out of it and be like, oh, that was fun. Now let's move on to the next thing. And this game allows me to do that. Now I'm only playing because I have 10 hours for free from EA Origin Access subscription, but I'm not going to pay full price for it. Fuck no. I'm going to wait till it goes at least on sale for $30, and then maybe I'll think about it. But who knows what'll be out by that time? They're going to have to make some serious moves, I think, in December though, for it to move, because it's definitely disappointing.
My worry is especially the word temporary, right? Because it basically, to me, this sounds like EA saying, okay, guys, don't worry. We're just going to get rid of them so you can buy our game in droves. And then we will unleash the beast. You know, it's just really annoying to me. And I'm worried about that.
For sure. And that's the update. So that's where it stands right now. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Gambling.
Justice League. That movie came out last week. That was DC's attempt at making a good Avengers movie.
It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, you can listen to our Spoilercast that Jack and I did earlier this week if you are really interested in our thoughts and want to listen to it. But
save yourself the money. Don't go. Just listen to the podcast.
Yeah,
just watch the animated series.
Way better.
There you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that movie had a budget of $300 million, and in the first weekend, for both domestic and global sales, they only made $281 million. Super under projected targets.
Now, that sounds sort of good. Like, it is going to be a profitable movie. No one doubted that, okay? But it still is disappointing and underperforming when you're projecting it to maybe enter the billion-dollar club, which DC certainly was thinking would happen when they started this universe 10 years ago. This is going to be like their flagship title, and it's definitely disappointing. Now that I think about it, there's only one good DC movie I can even think of. And
Suicide Squad.
I'm not counting the Nolan Batmans. Like I said, I don't think those fit really, even though it is a DC character. But I don't think that lives inside the DCEU, right?
No, that's different.
So you have Wonder Woman. That's like the only good DC movie I can think of. I rest my case. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. It hurts my DC fanboy heart, right? That this is sucking real hard, and it just doesn't look good for the future. You know, they've got like a DC movie every year lined up for the next 3 years, but it's hard to get excited about them when like this is their Avengers. You know what I mean? Like this was supposed to be it. This is what would cement the DC established universe here, and it's just like pretty meh.
Sad times.
I'll just stick with the Russian version of the Avengers, Guardians. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
And with the bear with the giant machine gun on his back.
Man bear.
Yeah, and something else I want to bring up. I remember reading this like opinion piece out in the news that was like, stop comparing Justice League to the Avengers, and it's like, sure, I'd do that if it wasn't DC and Marvel. Like, it's hard not to, you know what I mean? Because they're literally trying to take the same beats. Like, they brought in Joss fucking Whedon onto this movie. You know, it's like, of course they're trying to emulate what Avengers and the Marvel have.
Well, it's like DC, at least from an outsider perspective, because I haven't seen the movie, but DC's coming in here and they're trying to force something like the Avengers when they didn't take the same strategy that Marvel did. Because Marvel was very strategic about it. They went through and they basically made a film for almost every one of the Avengers.
Yeah, it was
or at least most of them. And they built up a lot of character development because of that. So DC comes in here like, oh, hey, we have Batman versus Superman. We're just going to throw the rest of the Justice League in there. I mean, haphazardly. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, people have seen the CW series for The Flash. They'll get it. You know.
Yeah, that's totally it. Absolutely. So the Steam Autumn Sale went live today, Wednesday, November 22nd. That's going to be going on until November 28th. So if you're a PC gamer, it's one of those times where your wallet's going to be real light, allegedly, kind of, maybe, not really.
For me, it is. I mean, Planet Coaster is $20, man. I've been looking forward to that game forever, and that is the right price. I'm happy.
I don't know. I'm half and half. They're the games that I really wanted. They're like not getting as steep a discount as I would like.
Yeah, Divinity 2 at 10% is kind of but I mean, it's one of the most successful, highest selling games. They don't have to discount that one.
And it's really good and worth $45. Absolutely.
Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just got into PUBG, thanks to Jack. And I think I'm gonna go throw down on some Overwatch because Overwatch is on sale for $20, and I haven't got into that yet.
Yeah,
so I mean, $20 for Overwatch sounds like a good deal.
It's worth pointing out, of course. Like, it is the Steam sale right now, but you know, it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, like all the other sites that you want to use, like BlizzNet or BattleNet, and you know all the other like GOG.
What about Humble? Is Humble Bundle doing it?
Maybe. I haven't looked at Humble Bundle yet, but
might want to look. Everyone's doing something.
Yeah,
man.
everyone's doing something.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like the Steam sale, of course, is just this big thing. You know, like that's kind of the main one to point at, but wherever you want to get your games, you're probably going to find pretty good sales this weekend. So have fun. Enjoy your holiday break, buying all your discounted games.
Nerd holiday.
Absolutely. Speaking of discounted things, do you guys want an Xbox 360?
No, but can I have one for free anyways?
Do you want it, though?
No, I don't want it. I just want to use it as a doorstop just to say I did. No, I want to use it as a coaster for my beers.
Low blow, man.
Yeah, I'd use it as like a desktop stand.
No, hey, listen.
I'll use it to line my litter boxes.
There's some good games on the 360.
Oh,
now,
yes, I'm just teasing.
So, anyway, where Robert's getting at is GameStop is basically giving Xbox 360s away for free.
Kind of.
What?
Kind of. Because they expect you to spend $60 on it and give you a $60 rebate, and then hope to God you don't ask for the rebate. But obviously, I would.
Yes, you can get it for free.
Yeah, it was for free. But yeah, free 360, man. I have a small backlog of good games I want to play on a 360 still, and my old 360 took a crap on me because of that darn 60% failure rate on the original models.
Dude, I went through three. I went through three different Xbox 360s, man. I had the worst customer service story of my entire life happen when one of them red ringed. Not a story for today. I'll save that in my back pocket. But man, that is a story, and I'll never respect Microsoft the same after that.
The 360 was such a good console, failing on so many people like that. I don't know. For me, I'm looking at this and it's like, I guess it's cool that I could like basically loan GameStop $60 for a minute, just to get it 360 for free. But I'd rather honestly spend that $60 on Call of Duty World War II, and I don't want that game.
Wow.
No, I don't want that game.
I mean,
either.
hey, man, the only reason, like, 360 has Lost Odyssey and Tales of Vesperia. So
Which you can get on PC.
Yeah, PC is the way, dude. PC
they have
is
Lost
the
Odyssey
light.
on PC?
I don't know about that, but Vesperia absolutely is on PC, I think. Actually, maybe it might not be. I might be wrong about that.
All I'm saying is if I get an Xbox Slim, which actually runs marginally better and doesn't fail like the old ones would, then hey, for free, I'll take it.
Fair enough. Something we've been waiting for a very, very long time. The Incredibles 2 teaser trailer finally dropped over the past week. Do either of you two see that?
No, I'm not
I
a
didn't
big
get to see it.
I'm not a big
Sad.
Incredibles fan. I kind of missed the boat on that. I understand it's great, but I don't know really much about it, so
Jack.
I can't say I'm looking forward to it.
It's not just great, it's incredible.
Okay.
Samuel L. Jackson plays a superhero, man. Come on.
Really? Is that real?
Where is
Yeah.
my super suit? So
Woman,
good.
where's my super suit?
God,
That's
I love that
hilarious.
moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's for the greater good. I'm the greatest good you ever gonna get.
All right. You're selling me already. You're selling
No,
me
it's
already.
a great film. Highly recommend. Yeah, that movie's finally getting a... Well, I mean, we've known about the sequel happening, but now we finally got the teaser trailer, and it's really adorable how they, like, follow... Because they have a baby at the end. I guess spoilers, but, like, eh. They have a baby at the end of the first movie, and now in the second movie, you get to see this baby have powers, and it's, like... It's so great. The way... It's nice to see it animated and, like, see it actually happening. It's got me kind of excited for it.
Oh yeah, I 100% go see it. I'll push all the toddlers out of the way I need to go get into that movie.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of like Monsters University when that came out. Like that's the same
I
feeling.
know. I still haven't seen that.
Yo, worth it. Absolutely worth
I bet.
it.
I love Monsters Inc.
Mike Wazowski. Oh man. All right, that should do it for us for the news this week. So I'm gonna toss it over to. I mean, we really didn't decide who would ask the question this week, but we're gonna toss it over to the Tiny Disc Podcast to ask the question of the week.
I guess I can answer or ask. What am I doing?
I don't know.
We're falling off the rails here. Okay, I will ask and pose to all of you out there on the internet, as well as you two fine gentlemen. The question of the week, the actual question of the week this week is, what be up with net neutrality? And it's like a thing now. And why is it a thing now? And
Well,
what
that's the
is
problem,
it?
right, Jack? It's gonna get down. That's the thing. It's not up. It's not what up. It's what down
So-
with net neutrality because they're trying to take it down.
So what's the dude's name?
Y'all too hip for me.
What's his name?
Ajit Pai.
Ajit Pai.
Ajit Pai is the chair of the FCC.
Unfortunately,
And he was appointed right by the Trump administration. Am I correct in that?
I believe.
Yeah, with his ridiculously large Reese's cup mug.
He also is, I don't know what that means, but we're going to go
No.
ahead with
Listen, it's exactly what it sounds like in all of the videos of him. Like he was mid press conference, and out of nowhere, he just takes a swig of this ridiculously oversized
large Reese's cup mug, branded
Reese's
mug,
cup,
probably
coffee
full
mug.
of vodka
Yeah.
to.
It's a
handle
giant
that.
plastic cup. Yeah.
Dude,
I do know what you're
it's
talking about now.
insane.
I remember that. Yeah, this isn't even a joke. So anyways, Trump guy, he was also a previous lawyer for Verizon.
Yeah.
Verizon, guys, the Verizon. And
Yeah, the
now
people that are trying to get net neutrality repealed.
And so to drain the swamp, what you do, you just go ahead and put Verizon's lawyer as the head of the FCC. Right. Okay.
Right.
So, anyways, not gonna get too political here, but how can you not with this subject? So
Go ahead.
So what they're trying to do is they are using, and make no mistake, this is a very strategic, deliberate move. They are using the long weekend and the holiday Thanksgiving weekend to try and sneak under the radar when people aren't paying attention to the news and what's happening, the busiest travel day of the year. They are using that to try and slip in a motion to repeal net neutrality. And the language they used in their statement is just awe-inspiring in the worst ways. I've never seen a federal commission use such subjective language before. Like, this would not pass a 101 college writing course, right? Or like this would not pass in any journalism field, and this is straight up public relations in the interest of big companies. He used to work for a giant telecom company, and it shows. right? He's fully on board for the big companies trying to dollar and cent you and make the most money and squeeze the most they can out of people that use the internet now today.
Yeah. And so Jack,
go ahead. I was just going to say, think about this.
For our listeners' sake, can you like quickly explain what exactly repealing net neutrality means immediately?
So I'm not going to like regurgitate what their statement was because it's just disgusting and vile. But basically what they want to do is they're saying we're going to restore freedom. We're going to restore freedom. Freedom's good, right? This is America, right? Freedom. What they're talking about, they're not talking about, and then you just think it's a dumb American, right? Like, I like freedom. That's good. Let's do it. But they're talking about, the internet right now is in its freest, most neutral, most fair, flat, plain ground for everyone. That's for like your mom and pop shop. That's for if you like, we're starting a podcast right now, like tinydisc.com, for instance. We have the same benefit that like a Nike.com or even Netflix would have. People have access to us. People don't have to pay extra for us. We get same download speeds, etc. It's not like you can go to Nike and it's faster than going to tinydisc.com, and that's a fair, free, neutral playing ground. So net neutrality or repealing that would basically make it so that let's say what's happening in Portugal now is a great example where the net neutrality rules do not take place. So what they do is the service providers will have, let's say, a social bundle. Oh, you like social media? $5 more. Here's $5. Yeah. You can use these 5 social media channels: Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. You can use those on all your devices. $5 more. Oh, you like videos? Anything with video on it: Netflix, YouTube, HBO. Here's another $5. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
you're free to pay.
Like
free to pay. It's not freedom.
Yes.
You're free to fucking pay. Oh, you like music? You like streaming music? Well, you only have the social package. You only have the video package. Oh, you need this music package now. So Spotify, Tidal, YouTube Music, Vivo, whatever the fuck it's called, Pandora. $5 extra. Don't worry. Just hit this button. Give us a little bit more money. You get all these. It lets them package the internet in these little subsections, much like, I don't know if you guys even remember, but cable channels kind of used to do that, right? It's like that. And it's like, what the actual fuck? So now we have the internet. We can go to any site we want to for a flat fee.
tinydisc.com.
Yeah, you can go to any website you want to, but it's not going to be like that anymore. If we tell the telecom companies that they can use any form of capitalism they want to squeeze as much money out of people as possible, and it's insane that they're saying they're going to add freedom to the internet. It's crazy. They're going to add freedom for the giant companies, the Verizons of the world, Comcast, AT&T. I'm sorry, I'm just getting so heated about this, but it's like a serious big deal. And like, you actually have to right now, you actually have to call your local government legislators. You have to call your congressman. You have to call. I mean, they make it easy. There's links where you can put in your phone number, and they'll make the simple thing. They'll even put a script up online for what to say to them when they answer, when you leave a voicemail. I did it like once every day this week. But it's just like we have to do this. If we sit on our hands now, we are going to literally be paying for this in the future. And the fat cats right now are going to get even fatter. The wealth inequality is going to get even worse. And this is squeezing the people, like the people that need internet. Internet's a basic human right? You can't you just can't do this, but they are doing it. And that's what's so scary.
Right. And it's just all the morality and all the different things behind it. And basically what you want to do is what you need to know is basically you want to keep net neutrality under Title II is the way you want to phrase it when you tell people that you want to keep net neutrality where it is, as it is. Yeah. So basically what it means is we would basically in our context have to focus on YouTube for streaming audio. You wouldn't be able to get only audio streams if this net neutrality thing got repealed. You would have to just listen to us on YouTube. How annoying would that be?
The internet would be vastly different, and it's in the interest of draining you of money and of making the big companies even more money because they're not happy with charging you $70 a month or $150 a month for slow internet. They're not happy with that. They need more. They want to charge you because you're already watching Netflix. They want to charge you more for Netflix. They want to charge you more for the most popular sites. And they say they're not going to do that, but they're going to do it because they've already shown that they have been throttling sites when there's some political disagreements with their stakeholders.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too, is that Jack prefaced this earlier with, like, I don't want to get too political. Fuck that. This isn't a political issue. This really isn't. This is just big companies wanting to fuck you in the butt, like, real hard in your internet butt.
Exactly.
And that's not fun. That's not cool. That's not Republican. That's not Democrat. Don't even give a shit about your political party, what you identify as. This is a human right. This is a basic human thing. You use the internet every day for Facebook, Twitter, for YouTube, for your porn, for whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
listen, guys, that's a big thing. You're not going to get porn.
Well, here's the thing. You can
not.
still get porn, but then it's like you got to pay Comcast that extra $20 for the XXX package.
Unless they decide to just block it.
Sure, like Korea or Britain does. But I mean, think about it. Like, this is legitimate, right? Like, on your bills, it'll say what you're buying for, when you're buying your video package, your music package. So it's like you have to customize what your internet is, and it's like, who the fuck wants that? What is this, cable in the 90s? Like,
it's just a sleazy, underhanded way of that they're going about it, right? Going over it over Thanksgiving weekend, man. It's fucking so disgusting.
And what bothers me the most about this is that, like, the internet in America, frankly, is absolute shit for the most part.
It's not even good. No,
it's not.
The infrastructure is not there.
Yeah, no. So, like, I come from Korea, right? Korea has some of the fastest and cheapest internet on the planet because they rebuilt their infrastructure, in the past 60 years because of, they had a war and whatever. But the U.S. internet system is pretty garbage because they're kind of piggybacking off the old cable systems that were, back in the 20s and onward. So it's like what you're doing here is basically serving me a filet mignon that is years old, and you're serving it to me undercooked. It's like, no, I don't want your shitty shit made shittier. What you should do is, instead of trying to repeal this bill to make the internet worse, try to make it better. Seriously, better.
Better for the people, not better for the big companies.
Absolutely. Like, there's no reason we shouldn't have more initiatives for fiber optic cables. Absolutely no reason.
Yeah, that's where Google was at when they were doing Google Fiber. Google's like, well, why don't we just light a fire under all these guys' asses? Because, like, before Google Fiber was a thing, all these companies were like, oh, hey, yeah, we're going to charge you like $100 a month for 50 megs down. And it's like, and the Google Fiber comes out and like, hey, so we can give you 500 megs down a month for $80 or whatever. I'm just using an example.
It doesn't say the thing about the. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, and then all the other companies are like, oh, yeah, so we can totally give you speeds like that. We were just kind of hiding it from you.
All of a sudden, it comes out of the woodworks.
Yeah. The thing that just drives me crazy about the FCC statement is that in the headline it says, what did it say? In order to restore internet freedom and eliminate heavy-handed internet regulations. That heavy-handed internet regulation that they're trying to destroy is just saying, hey, you have to treat all websites normal. You're not allowed to give the websites that you're friends with in bed with faster download times. You just have to give everyone the same thing. It's the free internet. It's open. Keep it the same. There's no preferences. So we're talking about, oh, we're gonna quit we're gonna quit micromanaging them, right? Like, same thing, right? We're gonna quit micromanaging them. We're gonna quit telling them what to do. We're telling them what not to do. We're not telling them what to do. We're saying, do not try and milk, people and penny pinch and play political games with the internet speed. Right. Keep the internet, like, that's like saying, you're a Democrat, so we're just going to turn off your water and electricity on election day.
I mean, that makes sense, right?
I mean, it's the same kind of concept.
No,
yeah. I mean, if you're using Verizon and you're on data, imagine Verizon owns Yahoo. What if they use their cell towers and they block Google and the only search engine you can use is Yahoo?
Oh, let me Yahoo that real quick.
Yeah, let me Yahoo that.
And then think about this as well. If this were to happen, a new fledgling website, has no hope of competing with the big established brands now. There cannot be another Netflix, right? Or there can't be another Movie Pass, things like that. Like, they're going to have to pay exorbitant fees to be put on the same level, the same accessibility as the bigger established brands. And so to me, that's going to stifle growth. That's going to stifle creativity and innovation. And that's one of the most dangerous parts of this to me.
The little guy gets screwed. Yep.
Yeah, the heavy-handed regulation they're trying to get rid of is the only regulation that says, hey, don't regulate the internet. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's really dumb. They're trying to get rid of the only regulation that stops them from putting more regulations on it.
It's so backwards.
And here's the worst thing, and I want to end our conversation on this point. The press release that was, given out from the FCC that was detailing this whole thing, the motherfucker puts 2 spaces at the end of every period. That is reason alone to not trust him, to not give a shit about him and put a big old middle finger to his I want to fuck your internet. All right.
Never trust a two space man after a period.
I'm just gonna stand over.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Collin. I'm looking dead at you.
I didn't do that for years.
I would never.
I'm sorry. My school system growing up shoved it down my throat. Okay, I'm sorry.
If I had a daughter and she brought a boy home, the first thing I'd say is, "Write me an email real quick." And that'd be the first thing we'll see.
Do you put one space or two spaces after a period, son?
I wouldn't even say anything. I just look at his email, and if I didn't like it, I just throw his phone in the toilet.
Yep. You know what else I have two of? Shells in this shotgun. Now get. That's that's how we're gonna end this episode of the Tiny Disc Podcast. If you enjoyed, wow, we didn't really answer a question, did we?
We kind of did. If you don't know what net neutrality is, I mean, I'm sure the listeners of this show, I mean, they're pretty enlightened. They're pretty smart. So
absolutely.
No, I mean, Jack pretty much summed it up. I think we got it. Yeah, I think we got it.
So if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to share it with your friends. Leave a review on iTunes. That'd really help us out a lot. If you have any feedback, comments, questions, concerns, something you want us to read live on our recorded show that we release later, email it to us at tinydiscpodcast@gmail.com, or you can connect with us on any of our social medias, which you can find on tinydisc.com. All the links are there, and also all of our previously published episodes, so check that out if you've got some time. That, I believe, does it for us. Well, except for the spoiler cast we're going to do at the end. But for now, where can we find you guys online on the internet?
As always, Collin and Mono, aka ___55 on Twitter.
At JACCEPEDA, Mr. Cepeda, if you're nasty.
It really says that. Go check it. It really actually for real says that.
Thanks for the promotion.
And you can find me at Pinoptimist, PINOPTIMIST. So that does it for our normal part of the episode of this Tiny Disc Podcast. If you have watched Your Name and are curious about our thoughts, feelings, opinions, stick around till after the music. But if you're going to be leaving now, we sincerely, truly hope you enjoy this wonderful holiday season if you're living in America. If you don't, have a nice Thursday.
And also, before
Thursday,
before we bid you adieu, I also want to say, if you have not seen Your Name, please go watch that movie, and also watch it with knowing as little as humanly possible about the film. I guarantee you will be happy. Do that.
Even if you're like, what's this weeaboo trash garbage? I don't watch anime.
No, watch it.
Watch it. It's defining. It's great. Go watch it.
And then come back for our spoiler cast.
Absolutely. Yeah. Stick a fork in this episode and come back. So
don't stick a fork in an outlet though. That's bad.
Don't stick a fork in your phone either. So that should do it for us. Thank you so much for listening to the Tiny Disc Podcast, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Gombawa.
Hello, welcome to the other side of that wonderful, beautiful music. We are still the Tiny Disc Podcast, and we are here to talk spoilers about Makoto Shinkai's smash motherfucking hit, Your Name. Kimi no Na wa, one of the greatest anime films to bless this sacred earth.
And the numbers show it, man.
Yeah, it has destroyed every other anime film in terms of, like box office numbers. You know that guy Hayao Miyazaki, who makes those movies like Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle? Yeah, this movie outsold all of those.
Princess Mononoke.
don't tilt your head back and stick out your tongue at me. But yeah, Your Name. If you're here, you've probably already seen it and know how just fucking incredible this film is. If you're still here and you haven't seen it yet, I'd really, really recommend stop listening. Go watch that film one way or another. It's an incredible experience. It truly is one of the best movies I've seen. And it's something I will forever remember watching it for the first time in a theater. It's so good.
Exactly. I mean, we can sit here and describe it to you all you want, but it's not going to do it any sort of justice at all.
The less you know, the better the experience will be. So,
do watch it in Japanese though.
Yeah, I would recommend as well. Watch in Japanese with English subs because also the music is in Japanese. The original producers of the music, the composers, RADWIMPS, they did English versions, and I listened to them, and they're definitely not as good. So Absolutely listen to everything as authentic to the original release as possible with English subs. Certainly the best way to watch it.
So go, leave now, watch it, and hi, welcome back.
Yeah, need a box of tissues much.
Oh yeah,
need a box of tissues.
Holy crap.
So let me take you guys on a quick journey. So let's revert back to, I think, let's say 8-year-old Collin, 9-year-old Collin. Back when I think it was Adult Swim used to show anime late into the night, into the early morning. And you guys remember back when they showed, like, it was like Inuyasha or like Big O and stuff like that, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So Inuyasha, it reminded me of the first time I ever saw the closing for Inuyasha. This whole movie, the closing for Inuyasha is like this really pretty skyline with like a Ferris wheel, if I recall right, something like that. But I would always wake up and see that, and it was like a dreamscape almost. That same feeling was like conveyed in this entire movie for me. Yeah, that's basically what this was.
Yeah, this movie is just a visually beautiful treat to watch. Honestly, the only reason I could think of to say, like, hey, watch this in English is that way so your eyes don't need to focus on subtitles ever, and you can just stare at every brush stroke, every color that's on that screen, because every frame is so beautifully animated. And Makoto Shinkai, he's known for that. Like his previous works, Garden of Words, 5 centimeters per second, those are all visual spectacles worth watching. But Your Name definitely is like the one movie of his to watch if you had to watch any.
It's very refreshing to see a 2D movie as well, with Pixar like doing nothing but like 3D CGI. It's really nice to see like cell, hand-drawn digital art. And it's beautiful. And let's not sell short either the music that we had the pleasure of listening to, in between the regular episode and this. Like, the music is fantastic. One of the first things I did after I watched the movie was I went to Tidal and I started listening to the tracks. And, man, it just brings you back, like, to the feeling. And, like, I totally agree with you, Collin. I even said it to my wife last night. We sat on the couch, we watched it, and she didn't know anything about it whatsoever. And I knew very, very little. I saw the trailer, and that's about it, the first English trailer. And I told her at the end, I was like, we're going to remember this. Like, this is like an experience we're going to remember, like, the first time we saw this. Like, I told her, I looked at her and I was like, I love watching, like, legendary movies for the first time ever, because you can never recreate that experience. You'll always get something new out of it every time you watch a great movie, but you'll never watch it for the first time again and have that feeling again. And I just was not, I knew you guys liked this movie, but I was not expecting to just be, like, smacked in the face with a gigantic, like, bag of emotional bricks. I just felt like I got run over by a truck, but it was a happy ending. Spoilers, right? But it was a happy ending, sort of, but it was still, I felt so heavy, and I was thinking about it all day today, and I was just like, man, this is going to sound crazy when I say this, guys. It really is. But it's probably been the better part of maybe 13 to 15 years since I felt this way at the end of a movie. And that movie, the last movie I felt this way was The Passion of the Christ.
Whoa.
Seriously.
Wow. Yeah,
and I'm not saying they're the same movie. They're not the same movie at all, but I felt that emotionally, like, drained at the end of this. Or I don't know if drained is the right word. I just felt so impacted. I
would say drained. Like, let me tell you guys a little story. I've seen this movie 5 times in my life now. I watched it for the first time like way earlier this year in theaters, and then I bought the Blu-ray, and then I watched it 4 times in the 2 weeks since I've owned the Blu-ray with different groups of people, because I'm like, I've been telling all my friends, like, hey,
I'd love to watch it with people the first time. I'd love to.
Yeah, just like, come over. You need to see this. I don't give a shit if you hate anime. You need to see this film. Yeah. Like, Jack, you've been kind of vocal about not as much being into anime as Collin and I, but I'm getting the feeling you really liked it.
Anime totally has let me down over the years. I used to be really into Akira, Ghost in the Shell, etc. When Dead Leaves came out, that was the one that kind of was like, okay, maybe this anime thing isn't for me, and then just started getting like made fun of, and I just kind of drifted away from it. This is just a great, fantastic film. This is masterfully crafted, and I'm talking about Your Name. It's so good, in fact, that J.J. Abrams, the same guy that is bringing back Star Wars right now, him and his production company Bad Robot are adapting this into a live-action Western remake. That's how good this film is.
I did not know. I did not know that.
I'm not excited about that. I
don't know if I'm excited about it because I don't know how anything can be better than the anime. I don't know if I'm excited about it, but what I'm saying is that speaks to the caliber of this film. If you just think it's another anime, no. This is like an international hit, like on the level that you do not see very often. This might be animated or live action. This might be one of the best foreign films I've ever seen in my entire life. And definitely the best anime I've ever seen. But it's just the beginning part of it really makes you feel like you're reading the manga. It's really accurate to that. It gives you that kind of
the manga.
Oh my God! Shut up with this. Okay, the manga. So,
actually, there wasn't a manga. I don't think
there was. It makes you feel like you're reading manga. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And there are side stories. There are side chapters of it as well too that like flesh out the film. Like there is a manga that is out where it shows what Taki did when he was Mitsuha to get her to be so popular. There are side stories to delve into, and I don't even know.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, to flesh out, there is like and these are like official canon. These aren't just like fan made stories. But I don't know. Listen, guys, like this is like a movie. This is gonna sound crazy too. So I already brought up Passion of the Christ as far as emotional impact, and now I'm gonna bring up fucking Titanic as far as like what how great a love story this was. Like this is like what Twilight and The Fault in Our Stars and Paper Towns and all those tween movies wish they were. Those can't hold a fucking candle to this. This is like for me, for instance, I was so glad I had my wife next to me to watch this. I don't know what I would do if I was in a room by myself. I would just be in a ball crying. I don't know what I'd do. I was like, oh, please come here and hug me. I need to hold you.
All right. So I think we've sung this movie a lot of praises without talking at all actually about it. So maybe let's get into it. Let's start off with the part that I think hit you the hardest. Like what one part sticks out to you as like, this is it. This is what I came here for.
I think Robin and I are thinking of the same part, but what do you think it is, Jack?
What one part?
Like
I mean, I guess it was when they were on the top of the mountain during Twilight, and then they got to see each other for the first time in their own bodies. And we don't really need to go to the premise, right? Because if you're listening to this, you already kind of know the story. Yeah, and then when she was going to write her name on his hand and the pen dropped, that kind of hit me kind of hard.
So
I mean, there's a lot of moments. I haven't really thought about the best moment yet.
I watched like again in theaters, and that moment, right, where it's like, write your name on my hand, so we'll know. Mm-hmm. And then the music just stops super suddenly, like done. It's cut.
That's perfect. That's the power of editing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the pen just drops. Like that moment, the theater was so silent, and then you just hear, "Oh shit!" I hear other people saying, "Oh shit!" Like that was just so powerful to me. Like you don't get that moment often in theaters, you know, and to know that everyone around you's experience is like cathartic, like what? Just one more second, you know, like
dude,
just it was so good. For me, my absolute favorite part of the film, where I think everything like climaxes and everything you've been watching has built up to this moment, is that scene where Mitsuha, as actually Mitsuha, is running to like try to warn her dad about the comet.
Okay.
And she trips, falls down, you know, and is like she's rolling on the ground because she like the trip was real bad. And then she opens her hand to see that instead of it saying Taki's name, after she's been grieving, like, I forgot his name, I don't know his name, all it says is I love you.
Yeah.
And here's a fun little fact, is if you know how to read Japanese, I remember reading that the way that Mitsuha wrote like on Taki's hand, you know, it was just like that one line, that one horizontal stroke. Mm-hmm. That stroke could never be used to like spell Mitsuha, but it could be used to start spelling I love you. So there's a lot of speculation that she was going to write the same thing.
Oh, dude, no, the feels.
Right? I love this film.
We're going on a field trip.
This is a field trip. This is the kind of movies that I would have hated like younger. I think I would have been like, this stupid love story, blah, blah, blah. Like get to the good action, get to the robots. This is anime, right?
Yeah, get to the fighting.
Yeah, but now I don't know if my taste have just changed, but like this movie like sunk its teeth like really deep into me. So that part, is that the part you're talking about too, Colin?
Yeah, yes, it is.
I don't know if I was just trying not to cry like more in front of my wife or whatever, but I was trying to be tough and just hold it together. But that part did not. I could tell that part was supposed to ring really like strongly, and it that wasn't the highest peak for me. I guess the end might have been like the climax for me emotionally. Anytime basically the music was going on, because the music, much like Titanic, anytime you hear that theme music, it really evokes very strong emotions, at least for me. And so anytime I hear that music, it brings me right back to where I was emotionally in that film. And those were the most resonant parts for me. I mean, there's such great acting, such great animation. There's I think a very tight, nice script. It was a little bit confusing to follow at first. It was almost intentionally that way, because you're supposed to feel as confused as the protagonists feel. You're not really supposed to know what's going on because they don't know what's going on, and you figure it out with them. So I appreciate that. I mean, I just thought, looking back on hindsight, I watched it twice. So I watched it once last night, and then right as soon as I woke up this morning, I watched it again.
Wow.
And I listened to the whole soundtrack after that too. That's like how much I like this movie, and I know my wife's gonna watch it again. I'll probably end up getting her the Blu-ray for Christmas. Don't spoil her on that. But
does she listen though?
Oh crap, maybe. Oh no. Oh
no.
We'll figure it out.
Sorry, Becky.
Yeah, I'll just turn the volume down. Like, oh, what happened there? That was weird. But the music was fantastic. I kind of lost track what I was talking about there, but I just think that it's kind of unfortunate that the director isn't a huge fan of this film. He actually tells people that they shouldn't watch it because they were over budget, or they ran out of budget, and they had to cut a bunch of things that he wanted for the final cut. And he was telling people, like, don't watch it, it's an incomplete work, I don't like it. And I'm like, oh no, this rings of like George Lucas when he's talking about the first Star Wars trilogy. Like, don't go in and change it. Like, it really actually is perfect the way it is. You know, but that's like that's the curse of being a creative person, right? You're never like, it's never finished. It's always got to be worked on. He said that 2 years wasn't enough and he wanted more time. But I mean, dude, this is literally the most successful movie to come out of Japan ever. You know, like this is the pinnacle so far of his career, and who knows where he goes from here. But I wish that he was a little bit more satisfied with the final work. It would make it.
I don't know. I mean, if down the years or a couple years down the line we get like an extended cut, I mean,
I'd buy that.
If it's what's that?
I'd buy the shit out of that.
Oh yeah,
I just hope it doesn't mess with this one too much though, because I really think this one is basically perfect. Like, I don't give a lot of perfect scores to movies, but it's very hard for me to find a fault with this movie. It's very difficult. There are some like logical fallacies that come into play if you really start thinking about it really hard.
Well, yeah, but like, and I was about to say it too, is like this. It was kind of jarring to me, and not in a negative way, but it was crazy to me when they threw the plot twist in there. Like, oh, yeah, this is like a time travel thing. Yeah. Like this girl's been dead for 3 years. I'm like, oh,
the fact that they're body swapping is not like the spoiler. That is not the big deal of this film. It's everything else that happens, and it's the fact that they find each other and how they find each other. It's just a beautiful thing, and my wife is really into the idea of like soul ties and like her headband and everything like that, and just the way that they can like straddle and go through time and space and everything is pretty cool.
Yeah, so an interesting thing is in Japanese culture and like Japanese, superstition and such, there's this idea that essentially you and your soulmate are tied to each other by the red twine of fate, or the red string of fate. And that hairband is mostly red. So that's like just another symbolism thing from Japan that I think is really cool in this film. But I think, like, I've seen it a lot. And I really like this film. I've seen a lot of like YouTubers and stuff talk about this film. Like, I've absorbed a lot of content. And I think what makes this film so likable, even if you're not a fan of anime, like if you can just sit down and suspend your disbelief for a minute, like, oh, they're swapping bodies. All right, whatever. I don't need to know how or why. I don't even know if a witch cursed them or whatever. They just do it and it happens. It's a movie with very relatable characters because they're all so simple, like none of those characters are damaged souls with lots of heavy backstory. Like, Taki is just a high school kid who is trying to make a buck working part-time and eventually wants to be an architect. Mitsuha is just your average, like country farm girl who is like tied to her family's, what is expected of her because of her family name, but she really wants to live in Tokyo. Like, those are very simple dreams, very simple things to understand or like relate to, right? And just following these characters through the supernatural, little time twisty like story. It's a little tough maybe, but you still kind of get the basic feeling of it, and by the end, at the end, after all the time traveling, after all the body swapping, you kind of relate to them so well because you're just thinking, when are they going to say hi? Like they need to say, they know that it's each other, but they don't know.
Oh, it's stressful. Yeah.
Right.
Stressful
yeah. It's so frustrating up until like the last moment there. And it's like, you know,
to kind of go off what you were saying about symbolism in the film, there were a couple things that I thought were really interesting as well too. So the braided cord is red mostly, but there is a white stripe in the middle with blue by the sides of the white stripe. So the white stripe, supposedly, again, this is coming from the internet, right? But is supposed to symbolize like the meteor, and then the blue on the side is supposed to symbolize the water in Itora. I can't remember the name of the
Itomori.
city. Itomori.
Yeah,
it's supposed to symbolize the water. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well too. And then if you remember the Itomori, after it got hit by the meteor the second time, it has that like extra pool of water around it. And if you notice, the artist I heard deliberately made that look like the infinity sign, right, to symbolize like the infinite nature of time and space. And I thought, like, whoa, that's really cool.
Man, there's just so much to love in this movie. Like,
there's so much to unpack.
Yeah, and Jack, since you've seen it twice, the second time around, I imagine you picked up
way more. I was super confused. I got the gist of it the first time, but I was like, I don't understand this. Like, I didn't even know that that Taki saw Tessie and the other girl, like, as they were married, like, later in the future. I didn't even pick that up, like, because I was like, my mind was racing trying to process what was happening, you know, so I was like falling behind over what was on the screen. I was thinking about what was like a minute before, you know.
Right.
So it was a great film. I have to say it. I would recommend it. I would be one of those people like you. I would recommend it for everyone to watch. I think anyone that's just a fan of film and a fan of great stories. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, wow, like I know I'm hurling all these superlatives, but like I almost felt like, man, my faith in movies is almost renewed by this, because it's been so long since I've seen an actual original story that actually like made me feel things, made me believe, you know, the actors, and wasn't just so corny and just so crappy and so Hollywood. And this is that film. I was like, this is a great film of our time. That
it's just genuine. Yeah. It's genuine.
Yeah. And and like I said, I thought in hindsight and watching the second time, like there's clues all over the place. They drop little hints here and there. You see, and that's why this movie is so successful, because people were seeing it in Japan upwards of 20 times in theaters. Yeah, because it's that good. It's super rewatchable. Like I said, I've already seen it twice. I plan on buying the Blu-ray. It'll be in this house, and I'm sure we'll watch it multiple times after that too. And I'll enjoy it every time. I don't know any animes like that.
Yeah.
Listen, I was telling Robert that this needs a run in IMAX. Is what it needs.
Ooh, I mean, put it anywhere. I'll watch it anywhere. It's a great film. I mean, do you guys sort of see
visuals in IMAX?
Yeah. Do you guys kind of see the Titanic parallels I'm kind of drawing, or at least the comparison?
I mean, kind of, but I like this movie infinitely more than Titanic, personally.
I like Titanic too, but it's 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, but this movie is just a very tight experience. Very good. It's not very long. It's only like 106 minutes long. And it really pulls you in very quickly. And it's very funny too. It's very funny scenes in it, like laugh out loud humor.
Yeah, and like some things I did want to point out, actually. So a pretty common Japanese anime gag is like if a boy's in a girl's body, they're going to grab the boobies and play with the boobies.
They do that a lot in anime?
Yeah, that's like a very anime trope thing. And I've seen a lot of anime. I've seen that happen a lot, to the point now where like whenever it happens in an anime, I'm kind of like, oh, of course, yeah,
they're gonna grab the boobs now.
Like, all right, you're gonna grab the oppai or whatever. But this movie did that gag, and it did it so fucking well. Like, you remember that moment where like after Taki goes on that shrooms trip when he drinks the Kuchikami sake, and there's that very well animated, it's like a different style of animation with a lot of inverted colors, but where you get to see Mitsuya's like history and like how
that was super cool.
She is. And then he wakes up and he's in her body. And it's like that you just went through this very intense moment of like, what's Taki gonna do? Like, she's dead. How is he gonna find her? Is he gonna find her? And then all of a sudden he's grabbing his boobs again.
Yeah, he's just glad that she's alive. Yeah, that was a really funny part of the film.
Yeah,
and it's funny that you bring that up, because we are talking about the country where every cell phone in the country is, by Japanese law, has to have an audible shutter sound when you take a photo, because to prevent upskirt shots. Because upskirt shots and creeper shots in Japan are such an epidemic that they won't allow you to take a photo secretly. So I guess that kind of rings true, right? Like it's just a weird culture. But we knew that already.
And honestly, one of my favorite animated moments isn't necessarily like any of the landscape scenes or like the comet flying over, although that stuff is really good. But it's such a small thing, and I think I only appreciate this because I've seen it so many times. But it's the scene where they finally meet each other on top of that mountain. Right, like during the twilight hour.
What I was talking about, yeah.
Yeah, and when Mitsuha's like, you know, and hey, my sister said that you grabbed my boobs, and you know, he's like, it was only once, and then she like does that pouty thing. It's like, it doesn't matter how many times, and she just breaks out into a laugh. That scene where you see her go from one set of emotions to a completely different one in such a flash, and how well it was animated, it didn't make that change so jarring because it looked like a genuine human being on the screen laughing. Like from their gut, you know, just thinking man, this is a crazy situation. How the fuck did we end up here, you know?
Yeah.
Right, but dude, then not to take away from the landscapes though, because I'm almost convinced that all of this entire movie was just professional photography with anime characters thrown on top.
Well, you know what they actually did, right? They did take real world places. They took photos of them and then they traced over them and they recreated them in this movie. So many of the scenes, much of the movie is inspired by actual places that exist, and so it created this whole tourist economy. Okay, this is true, where people will go and visit the places in your name and take pictures there. Wow. Like the stairs at the end with the red rails, that's a place. The town is based...
Wait, is Itamoria a real place?
Well, it's not a real... It's a fictional town, but it's based on Hida, or Hida, however you say, Hida. Yeah. And so people go there, and the tourism for that city went up by like billions of dollars because people are visiting there because of your name.
And
so how
to
crazy
be clear,
is that?
This movie isn't the only thing that does it. Shinkai has a history of, like, in his previous movies, where like a lot of the locations and the landmarks in those movies look just like the thing in real life.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's just a technique he loves to do, and it pays off so well because those movies look incredible, honestly.
I don't know if I told you guys this, but I have kind of a low-key, not necessarily low-key, but I have a pretty deliberate plan here where after the Olympics, the 2018 Olympics in Japan, Becky and I were going to try and go to Japan for a couple weeks because we figure the prices for everything are going to be really cheap right after the Olympics. So we're going to go do that, and if we're able to, I would totally want to go to the scene where the last scene of Your Name is, that stairwell. I would totally go there. I would totally visit places if they were accessible. Like, that's something that I'm interested in. It's kind of like the Forrest Gump bench.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. This movie is like every inch of my hopeless romantic was fulfilled after seeing this.
How
movie.
did you guys feel at the end? Can we go to the end? Is it time?
Satisfied. Yeah, sure. So satisfied.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was one of those things where it's like you're waiting with bated breath the whole movie. It's like, are they really going to end it without them like actually
they have you
meeting
holding
each other?
your breath, right? They're like,
yeah.
It's like, what happened when he finally yelled at her and they turned around in the theaters? Robert, what was like the crowd reaction? Did they do anything? Was it just quiet?
Everyone was like, it was pretty quiet, honestly, because I think everyone was just so quietly satisfied. At least that's what I'd like to think, because that's how I felt. I was just like, oh, sigh of relief. Thank God.
Yeah, was anyone like sniffling or crying, or was anyone
yeah. Absolutely. Like starting from the scene where they meet on the mountain to the end, yeah, there were sniffles throughout. And well deserved, of course, because that's the moment where everything just comes together. And the rest of that movie is just fan-fucking-tastic.
So I just am in awe of this film. Seriously, is this going to be considered a 2016 film, or is this going to be considered a 2017 film? Because they did release it in America in 2016 at just one theater in LA just to qualify it for the Oscars, in hopes that when the Blu-rays came out this year, they could put Oscar nominee, or better yet, if this was a fair world, Oscar winner, right? But it didn't end up even getting nominated for the Oscars last year, which is a damn shame in itself. But it did come out in theaters in wide release this summer in America, and then it came out on Blu-ray that just a couple weeks ago, this November. So is this considered, is this a 2017 film? I'm just curious because I know we're going to be talking about this during movie of the year stuff.
Like, I'd like to say it's a 2017 movie, but it's a foreign film, right? So it technically originally came out last year in its original language before it was like translated and stuff for the Western audience, for our ears and eyeballs. So I don't know. Maybe it's something we'll have to decide before we start talking about it at the end of the year, right? For 10 Days of Tiny Disc. But man, God, I love this film. I love this film so much.
I kind of want to buy. I want to buy this, and I want to buy all of Shinkai-san's movies, like just all of them.
I want to go back and watch some more now. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that this is his best one.
It is absolutely his best one. Yeah. I've seen Garden of Words and 5 centimeters per second, and I didn't even think twice about them after I finished watching.
So maybe don't watch them?
No, I mean, they're worth watching. They're fun little stories. They're good, but they're not definitely nowhere near as memorable.
I heard he follows the kind of star-crossed lovers kind of theme in his films.
Every one of them is not necessarily lovers, but it's always about some relationship in some way.
I mean, that's something everyone can relate to, you know?
It is hands down, though, the greatest animation I've ever seen in an animated movie. Like, the animation itself is the greatest, hands down.
It's a fantastic movie. Yeah, the art style is fantastic, second to none that I've seen recently. And I'm just really thinking about it just on a very flat plane with every movie I've ever seen. I'm talking about like Wonder Woman, I'm talking about like all these movies I saw this year. Like, this is just head and shoulders above them in so many different aspects. And I cannot recommend a movie higher to anyone this year. I used to think like, oh, It is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Like, this makes It look very trivial to me. It really does.
I'm honestly
they fill different. Yeah, they fulfill different parts of me, but yeah, for sure.
Like, honestly, you don't know how happy it makes me, Jack, that you are so infatuated with this movie as much as I am. Yeah. Like, it to me, it kind of like invigorates me and makes me feel like, yeah, this movie is as good as I think it is. Like, not just as an anime film, but as a film for everyone.
What's happening is what Holly's doing. Hollywood is doing what Hollywood does, and what it's doing is it's trying to bury this anime intentionally. They don't want it to get noticed very much because they know they're going to make a remake. They want everyone to watch the remake and be excited about the remake, and that's going to be the one getting the Oscars and getting the awards, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and then people are going to trash it because it's going to be garbage.
And so I hope it's so bad that people, like, there's a legit movement that's like, go watch the original guy. Like, everyone, go watch the original.
But let's be honest, though. That'll happen even if it's a good movie. So I really want it to be a good movie because I want this property to be celebrated. And if a live action American version, like, you know, does that and gets people to talk about the anime more, like, in a couple years, like, I would rather that happen. Because no matter what, if the movie's good or bad, people are going to say the anime is better. I hope for.
Oh God, they're going to whitewash.
I was just going
to
say that. Like, that is not.
Yep.
What I want.
And I hope it's like the Death Note movie on Netflix.
That's what people are talking about. They're talking about Death Note, talking about Ghost in the Shell. Like, what is this going to be? Like, is this going to be like Ryan Reynolds and Blair and, you know, and Jennifer Lawrence? Like, who are the leads going to be in Tokyo? Can you imagine?
Oh God! No, it's going to be in Los Angeles. Actually,
like, no, yeah, it's going to be it's going to be like Los Angeles versus small town. I mean, I don't know, Midwest Ohio somewhere.
They're going to go for like a Sleepless in Seattle vibe, right? Like, they're going to make it like a romantic.
Still, I haven't seen that. Should I see that?
I don't know. I was just thinking of like what's one of the most successful, you know, critical and commercial rom-coms. But so J.J. Abrams is not going to direct this. I wish he would, but he's going to produce it. He's actually going to be directing the third Star Wars movie in this newest trilogy, so he's gonna be having his hands full. But I would really love if they just kept it in Tokyo and if they just kept it like with Asian leads. Like, I know that's like a bit hard to imagine, but I mean, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, right? That was a foreign film that won Oscars. That was a great film. Memoirs of a Geisha.
God, that's such a good movie.
Memoirs of a Geisha. That was that a foreign film?
I can't tell you for sure. I don't think
anyways,
there's precedent. House of Flying Daggers was up there.
There's precedent for this. And so I just really don't want to see like blonde hair, blue-eyed people playing these Japanese kids. I just don't want to see that.
Like, my biggest worry with the Hollywood remake, right, isn't necessarily like, oh, they're going to put it in Tokyo and it's going to be a story about John and Christine and their star-crossed lovers, you know, like, make it super white, like American. That's not my biggest worry. My biggest worry is that they're going to fuck up the two main characters who are masterfully crafted and extremely well voice acted for this film. I mean, like, the animation, of course, for them is spectacular.
Yeah.
But with the way they speak, like, even if you're not, I mean, maybe I'm a little biased because I've consumed a lot of Japanese content, right? But I'd like to think that even if you don't watch a lot of anime, it's really easy to tell when it's Taki actually talking in Taki's body or Mitsuha talking in Taki's body. That's a lot of Taki.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that is a good point.
The way their inflections, the way they speak, because they don't like put Mitsuha's voice actress on when she's supposed to be in Taki. It's literally Taki's voice actress making himself a little more feminine, you know?
So so the male and female have to do masculine and feminine versions of each voice. It's very it's a good skill.
it's a very fine line to walk, and in Japanese language there's a lot of like small ways that it's a little bit easier, right? Like, I don't know if you caught this, Jack, but there was that joke the first time Mitsuha's in Taki's body and she's hanging out with the two friends like on that sports court, and you know, she's like watashi, and then his two friends are like, huh? And then she's like, boku, huh?
Yeah.
Ore, uh-huh. Yeah, like, yeah. That's like a joke because, you know, there are different ways to say I, and it's like some are more feminine and some are more masculine. And we don't really have that in English. In English, it's just I.
Yeah. No, that was a good, funny part too. And I've been thinking about that too. Like, what are they going to have to change culturally, etc.? Like they're spitting up the rice and making sake. I don't know if that would flow too well for a Western audience. Like,
chew some barley and spit it up and make beer.
Right. Like, I just hope.
Oh my God.
I just hope it's done with respect, you know. And Ghost in the Shell was an example of exactly how not to do this.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started.
I know, and that's what I'm worried is going to happen to this. But we still have Ghost in the Shell, the anime. It's still a classic. You know, nothing can take away Your Name. Like, we have it now. It's here. But just like do it justice and help the brand. Don't hurt the brand is all I'm hoping for the live action.
Yeah. I mean, I think we should probably get to closing statements here. So for me, watch this film, buy the Blu-ray, watch it every day. Do something. You know, like, this is a great film. Show it to someone new. Honestly, like, this is a great film, I think, to introduce people to anime because it is quirky enough where it has those weird anime tropes, like the guy in the girl's body grabbing the boobies, right? And it has those things that make people maybe a little bit reticent to get into anime, but it has such a powerful art design, has powerful soundtrack, and an incredible story that I think it's just a universal draw in, you know, like no matter who or what you are, you'll find something to like.
Yeah, I second pretty much everything Robert said, and it's one of those movies that I haven't had a movie like make an impression on me this much since I saw Scott Pilgrim for the first time. Like, it's like Scott Pilgrim is a movie. I know it's a kind of a polarizing movie, but for me, it's one of those movies where like I bought the Blu-ray of it and it's in constant rotation for me. Like, I watch that movie all the time, even if I don't watch all of it. I just watch it for the visuals. I watch it for like the general vibe the movie has. And this movie has it's the same reason. Like, if I bought the Blu-ray, I would wear the shit out of the Blu-ray and I would watch it all of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic.
I totally agree with what you guys said. It's a great movie. It's one of my favorite movies I've seen in a very, very long time. One of the most emotionally affecting movies I've seen in a very long time. Certainly stands head and shoulders above everything I've seen this year so far. And I feel really lucky that I had that experience to watch the first time with my wife. And it just brought us even closer together. I know it sounds corny, but it was that big a deal for us, you know. So I'll always
just on a side note, real quick, like, what does she think of it?
She loves it. She loved the film.
Okay,
and she understood more of it than I did at first go. Right, I had to watch it twice to understand it, how much she understood the first time. So she was really in tune with what was going on, you know. And I had to kind of ask her, like, wait, what? And she would explain to me. I'm like, oh, okay. So, like I said, I just treasure that moment, and wow, certainly looking forward to this man's next works. I just really am thankful that this movie was made, and I'm thankful that I didn't overlook it, because looking at the first trailer, I didn't know if I was going to like it or not, but now I know how foolish that thought was. Like, this is like an instant classic film for sure, and one of my favorite, if not my favorite anime I've ever seen, which is a big deal.
Yeah. So there you go. Anime's good, guys. Watch anime. Watch this anime. It's truly the best decision I've made in life.
You just will not. The best decision I've ever made in life.
Oh, God.
So I'm just saying,
yeah,
I mean, obviously
college,
you've already seen the movie. Like, if you're listening this far, like, I just can't think of something that affected me this way in a very long time.
Yeah,
so,
and Miyazaki was wrong. Anime wasn't necessarily all a mistake.
And here's the thing. If you for whatever reason have gotten this far without having seen the movie, and we just kind of like spilled all the beans.
We didn't really go like, you know, step by step. We just kind of talked about our thoughts the whole time.
Yeah.
So
like, still watch it. Even now that you know how it ends and like you kind of know the big plot points and all that, the way it unfolds, the way everything's drawn, it's still so worth the watch.
Do you think people listen to these and don't like do the thing?
Just in case, cover all your bases.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of, I can understand if you just want the shortcut. Like, just tell me all about it. Like, even if you have it spoiled, it's still a fantastic movie. And you still will be surprised because there's so much in this film. It's so jam-packed with awesomeness. We couldn't possibly cover it in one podcast.
Yes. So I think that wraps up this heartfelt, emotional spoiler cast for us. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. And we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Play many games. Yeah. Try your best.
Go play lots of South Park 64 and throw some snowballs at turkeys and stuff.
Don't do what Collin's doing. See you guys later.